to execute bayithe wena waphakathi.
It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. We're bringing you a special edition of what seems to be the Eswatini nation waiting with bated breath to wait for the announcement of the cabinet ministers. Linton Gule, how are you?
I'm okay, Sanpoy. Good evening. I am Linton Gule alongside Zama Zimanze. Before we get straight to the news, here are your top stories.
Eswatini Revenue Service and South African Revenue Service have officially launched the bilateral time release study that will improve the trade flow process of cargo to lessen time spent at the Ngwenya border gate. United Nations workers in Eswatini joined the UN workers from across the world to observe a moment of silence to honor the more than 100 UN employees killed in Gaza. And young women and women farmers who joined the Women Farmer Competition have shown great strength in keeping livestock. Welcome to it, and now for the news in detail. Eswatini Revenue Services and South African Revenue Service have officially launched the bilateral time release study that will improve the trade flow process of cargo to lessen the time spent at the Ngwenya border gate. The National Trade Facilitation Committee Chairperson Inati Lamini says this will reduce the costs for business.
The country conducted the time release study in the year 2018 and 2021. National Trade Facilitation Committee Chairperson Inati Dlamini says this study hopes to promote transparency and predictability of the release of clearance process.
The study you are launching today is very important to the NTFC, and it is therefore against this backdrop that I request all the participating border agencies to fully engage so that the results are meaningful and show the areas for improvement in the clearance process and ultimately trade facilitation. Customs administrations and lead border agencies play a pivotal role in expediting the international movement of goods.
South African Revenue Service Head Customs Border Operations Ports of Entry and Customs and Excise Compliance Payers Teron speaks about the importance of the time release study.
Reducing the regulatory burden, delays and congestion associated with the cross-border movement of goods is an imperative for SARS, as illustrated by several key initiatives that's being pursued under our Customs Modernization Program.
World Customs Organization's representative Stephen Muller applauds Eswatini in South Africa for this initiative, saying it is the first of its kind in the Southern Africa.
It is now operating very much like a one-stop border post. However, technically, it is not a one-stop border post. So back about the TFA, the TFA is meant to make it easier for the private sector to trade.
It is estimated that over 600 trucks use Ngwenya border gate daily. It was emphasized that for the study to be successful, all stakeholders involved should work hard. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa Ngwenya border gate.
The murder suspect, who is alleged to have killed his girlfriend at Eswatini, has been arrested. According to the police communications officer, Pindile Vlagat, they received 2 reports of people who died from road accidents that occurred in different places over the weekend.
We can report that along Manzini Helehele Road near Moneni, a VW sedan driven by a 30-year-old man of Madlenya lost control and knocked a medium and overturned. The driver sustained serious injuries and was certified dead upon arrival. There was also another accident where a pedestrian was knocked by a car while in Manzini. Saturday, a 19-year-old woman of Ngwalini was stabbed and died while at Potosini waiting room, and the suspect has since been arrested. We would like to urge the nation to avoid to take the law into their hands, as we have received reports that members of the community wanted to burn the suspect's homestead. When people face different challenges, especially when they need advices, they can reach out to the police officers. We would be happy to help.
The UN workers in Eswatini joined their fellow colleagues all over the world of the UN to observe a moment of silence to honor the more than 100 UN employees who were killed in Gaza. Now, according to the UN's communications officer, advocacy officer Mgati, says the workers were killed since the Israel and Hamas war, which began last month. Mgati was speaking at the UN offices when the flag flew at half-mast.
As UN staff, not only here in Eswatini, globally, we are taking a moment guided by our headquarters to, in solidarity with our colleagues who have lost their lives in the Gaza, but I think also everywhere elsewhere, UN staff have lost their lives. We recognize that we dedicate, as UN staff, we dedicate ourselves and we put ourselves in situations where we're in danger, but our drive is to help. And of course, the UN condemns violence everywhere and anywhere. So we are really devastated by what's going on to UN staff, and also civilian populations across the world. So it's really a concern. I think we've heard statements from the Secretary General. It's really painful what's going on. And for us as the UN, I think is to recognize and be in solidarity with our colleagues who've lost their lives.
The FSRA, the Financial Services Regulatory Authority, is encouraging Eswatini to be wise on their investment this festive season so that they do not lose money on pyramid schemes. That's according to the CEO, Ngamiso Njanjali. He was speaking when awarding 3 young people who came out victorious during their essay writing competition on Investor Week.
The Financial Services Regulatory Authority, FSRA, says a smart investor knows dangers. FSRA Chief Executive Officer Ngamiso Njanjali elaborates.
Try to garner and motivate the investing public to always be aware that they invest in safe assets and always be aware that they know the investments that they are consuming. That's the festive season. We want to preach the safety, and we want to preach the consumption of good and approved financial services.
Those who won in the essay writing are Jimmy Malinga, who walks away with the first prize, followed by Kuhle Dlamini and Hlelolo Ngosi Dlamini. The winners say they benefited a lot from the competition as they learn a lot about investing their monies.
Investing kwabo angamanja invest so kufuna aqale aconsider like inkampani kumele investe kito like I invest kuma sustainable companies. It
gave me forward to really think about what sustainable investing means to me, what it means to me as a young person, and it really made me appreciate Umqoka of being able to take sound financial decisions.
I also wanted to increase my exposure to the corporate world, like I said, because sustainable finance is very important.
Women's Fund representative Njabulo Mkhonto encourages Eswatini to invest in the country in order for the economy to grow. Meanwhile, Eswatini Stock Exchange representative Sihle Tsabetse says that most Eswatini are not aware of the company and they are losing out as they can generate revenue from this sector. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
Young women and women farmers who joined the Women Farmer Competition this year have shown great strength in keeping livestock. Now, according to the Women Farmer Foundation founder Sonia Paivia, she says most of these farmers have expanded their market bases from rural areas to retailers, although they lack proper abattoirs. Now, Paivia says they received over 300 applications for the 2023 competition.
The Women Farmer Competition continues to empower women and youth farmers in Eswatini. The competition has seen a large number of women who are doing well in keeping livestock. The founder of the competition, Sonia Paivia, says the competition is also focusing on improving or providing the youth with technology that can improve their agricultural skills.
It was so encouraging to see young ladies, and at the level that they came in at. It's very, very encouraging. And of course, the other thing is, out of the enterprises for the youth, like I said, we had livestock, but then across the board, it seems like the vegetables and legumes seem to have excelled once again. But I think that the most important thing is it's the volumes that they're producing now. And also, I took note of the markets that they are using to basically dispose of their produce. And it's not only in the rural areas where they are, but some of them are actually venturing into the mainstream, into the local supermarkets as well. We are so proud to also see that women have also, besides their vegetables and legumes, they've also ventured into livestock.
The Women Farmer Competition is expected to be hosted on Thursday. The competition will also give other winners an opportunity to share the impact of the competition in their agribusinesses. The competition comes at a time where the government of Eswatini has identified agriculture as one of the key pillars that government has identified in the economic recovery strategy of 2020. Eswatini TV News, Sondo Mlangini, Tambashabangu, Mbabane.
Mbabane government hospitals guards have downed their tools following unpaid salaries by their employer, Intelligence Security Services. According to the manager, Comfort Numalo, by the end of the week, all employees will have been paid.
Despite that, on Monday, Mbabane Government Hospital security guards downed their tools due to unpaid salaries. This reporter understands that all guards contracted by the security company in public health facilities have not received their salaries.
Ngobhlungu ukuthi sitawusebenza thina silambile yena ahleli kugathouse esothi njengethi 70 as for female sitawungena etilungweni tekugana ngekuthi endlini silambile.
The guards say they have run out of food in their houses, while others claim that they have been kicked out by their landlords. The guards further allege that what was disturbing is that some of their colleagues have been paid. The guards further mentioned that this is the second month they haven't received their salaries. Intelligence Security Services Manager Comfort Ngumalo says it is not true that the workers have not been receiving their salaries for the past 2 months. He says it is only last month. Ngumalo further promised that by the end of this week, the workers will have received their salaries.
So, bisolo semele ukuthi hulumende agcina sifakele le mali bayisebenzele so that sikhona sisibaholele. So kwanyalo we are working on the matter. We came here to address them. Sethemba ukuthi kutathi kuphelele iviki kukhona uhulumende abataza kuzamile ukuthi batokhona nabo bahole. Kona sekuhambela icinga lokuthi phela vele kufuna barente. Kufuna bathole nekudla ngeke ungene esibhedlela ungadli.
The Minister of Health Principal Secretary Khanya Mabuza encourages Intelligence Security Services to come to the ministry to find solutions to their matter. Mabuza says the ministry and the company renewed their working contract last month. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Vimikosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
Right, with that, we shift gears now into the world of business, where we get a look at our financial indicators that will give us a sense of our markets further today in a financial report.
It can be.
And And in our sports news, Manzini Wanderers head coach Nyanga Izizwe Chris Klope says as long as the team does not train daily, they will continue to suffer bad results. Klope was rating after going down to 2-0 to Rangers in an M10 encounter played at the Mavuso Sports Centre.
Manzini Wanderers, as it was last season, they have started this new season badly. After 8 games, they have suffered 5 defeats, drew 2 and won 1 game. In their most recent games, they suffered another defeat in the hands of Rangers, who beat them by 2-0. After the game, Manzini Wanderers coach Nyanga Izizwe Klope says, as long as the team is not training every day, they will continue to suffer such embarrassing results. Rangers FC coach Mthunzi Gininza says they knew that Wanderers wasn't training well.
We have watched Wanderers. Sadna siyibukela sayiprofiler departmentally, sayiprofiler individually. Sakhona kwi-analyze ukuthi one i-team letsinwako because of ukuthi ayikho ukujima kahle. Sathi no, first half, let's go for containing them. Then we'll take on them second half, of which we did, and we scored those 2 goals in counter attack, and we did a counter pressing of which we did it.
In another game, Bafana Swallows played to a 2-2 draw against bottom placed Monene Pirates, with goals from Sizwe Lwethu and Siyabonga Zwane for Swallows. Fanzile Fash Nzimanze scoring a brace for Monene. In other sports news, Tech Board Secretary Nolwazi Ngwenyama has highlighted how happy they are as an association that the teams in the league have shown consistency since the start of the season. Ngwenyama was speaking during one of their games that they hosted at the Olympia Center this past weekend.
Consistency has been really good. Siyichinjile le format yethu ye league lo mnyaka, where last year lama teams begeta onke adlalane onke every month, but kulo mnyaka sidecide ukuthi kune actual a fixture where team itela nje kudlala team yinye. For example, namuhla nje ema-Techers beyitele kudlala i-Vondos, and I'm sure nibonile kule footage ukuthi badlala i-Vondos kuma-singles, badlala i-Vondos ku-mixed doubles, badlala kuma-men's doubles. So that's why also benibona bomake labangu-2 kuphela ngilama teams lawo labekane mixed up.
Currently, Malkan's Vondos are leading the tables, followed by Amatekas. The league is expected to conclude in the month of December. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi, Lobamba.
Right, with that, we hit the home stretch of the news bulletin here at 8 at Eswatini TV. But before that, let us quickly take a look at news making headlines tonight. Eswatini Revenue Service and South African Revenue Service have officially launched the bilateral time release study that will improve the trade flow process of cargo to lessen time spent at the Ngwenya border gate. United Nations workers in Eswatini joined UN workers from across the world to observe a moment of silence to honor the more than 100 UN employees killed in Gaza. And young women and women farmers who joined the Women Farmer Competition have shown great strength in keeping livestock.
Well, before we cross over to the weather center, there is expected to be a cabinet a press conference at cabinet offices by the Prime Minister, and we shall take our viewers there live when things get underway. You're told to start here.
Fortune Langamandla is standing by to give us a sense of what's going on there. But before that, let us take a look at the weather center to give us a sense of how the weather is looking like tomorrow. And with that, we shall come back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.